Thank you. Thank you. I am very excited to be here, and the best part for me is what I'm going to be speaking about is something that you will be able to use immediately to enhance your results in life. And when I say in life, not just professional, but I'm talking about success in your relationships, whether it's with your kids, your partner, your family. And what I am speaking about is, for most of you, one of your greatest assets and one of your most underdeveloped assets, and that is your emotional intelligence. You are born with emotional intelligence. The question is, are you developing it and are you applying it? My job is to show you how to take your innate, what I like to call your emotional intelligence portfolio, and like any asset, it increases its value when you know how to leverage it. So I'm going to give you 10 strategies of how to leverage your emotional intelligence. Before I get into that, though, we have to talk about what is emotional intelligence. You know, the term really brings together, it's not an oxymoron as many people think, but it brings together two of psychology's oldest concepts, emotions and intelligence, and puts them together. Now, two key points about emotions. One, they are universal. Everybody in the world has the same emotions. Your clients have the same emotions. Whether they are in Ottawa or whether they are in Singapore, they have the same emotions. Now, of course, culture to culture, emotions are expressed differently. For example, in the Japanese culture, a way a Japanese woman expresses anger at her mother-in-law is to have an imperfect floral arrangement on the table. Now, in America, they would just throw the flowers at the mother-in-law. But again, they're both getting angry. And the second key point about emotions is that they impact your results in life. Your emotions impact your results in life. When you are confident, when you are optimistic, when you are enthusiastic, you do better. Contrary to that is when you're depressed, you do worse. In fact, there was a recent study that was published in the September issue of the Sunday business section of the New York Times. I forget the exact week, but it was the month of September. And the article was called "Depression Comes to Wall Street," where the study indicated that financial advisors are 5 times more likely to have bouts with clinical depression than people who are not in the business, and has nothing to do with biological dispositions. So at the very least, what we're talking about can really be an antidepressant. So we have those 2 points about emotions. They impact your results. They are universal. And now, intelligence. Now, there are many ways to think about intelligence, but the most common way is it helps you adapt to your environment. That's what intelligence is. It helps you adapt. Put those two terms together, emotions and intelligence. Using emotions to help you adapt to your environment. Using your emotions, your feelings, your moods, the emotions, feelings, and moods of others as information that allows you to adapt more effectively to your environment. Now, you start to think, how does that help you? It seems to me that in your business, you have to be able to build trust with clients. You have to be able to build trust with new clients, i.e., prospects. You have to be able to manage your emotions, especially in times of turbulence. You have to be able to manage your emotions when an angry client calls and starts yelling at you. You have to be able to manage your emotions, being able to take criticism when your branch manager or client is giving you some. You have to be able to, every single day, turn yourself on. In other words, you have to self-motivate. How quickly start to think, can you change a setback to a comeback? You have to be able to change your mood. Start to think, what are your mood management strategies? If the market goes down 300 points, if clients liquidate accounts, how long are you going to stay in a bad mood? See, I have very good mood management strategies. 1, I could call up my friends, puts me in a great mood. 2, I could play with my son, puts me in a fantastic mood. 3, I could watch The Godfather, puts me in a fabulous mood. Now, my wife has mood management strategies. She'll change her mood by going shopping. But look what that does to my mood. Now, the reason I say that, it's important for you to realize that how you manage your emotions impacts how other people manage other emotions. Start to think in how well you build consensus, how well you deal with conflict. Listen to the things that I'm saying. Managing your emotions, self-motivation, dealing with adversity, changing your moods, giving and taking criticism, working out conflict, building consensus, building trust. These are the things that make you in your business successful. Anybody in this room who thinks it's your technical expertise that separates you by more than 6 degrees from somebody else, in my opinion, is off the wall, because the truth is, everybody has the same information. In the United States, everybody watches CNBC. Everybody reads the Wall Street Journal. So what we're really talking about today is I want you to start to think, what do you think makes you successful in the broadest sense of the word? And studies over the last 4 or 5 years have shown that while your technical expertise is important, that gets you into the game, it levels out. I'm assuming that everybody has the same technical expertise. So it becomes a level playing field. Now I want you to think, given the fact that it's a level playing field, what makes you more successful than the person next to you? Again, not how much money you make, but the quality of your life. And that's where emotional intelligence starts to come into play. Now, before I can give you these 10 tips for becoming what I like to say is an emotionally intelligent financial advisor, I have to tell you the most important concept, taking action. Taking action means you've got to do what we're talking about. I mean, this is nice that you come here, you get handout materials, you take notes, you listen to people, but the reality is, so what? See, that is just insight. That really doesn't help. From my therapy days, when I lived in Los Angeles, I did a lot of therapy. First of all, if you live in LA, you have to do therapy. But I was actually licensed to do it. And I would see people coming into my office, excuse the language, they'd be screwing up their lives and they didn't know why. And I would call these people unconsciously incompetent. They're lousing up their lives and they don't know why. Now, after a few sessions of therapy, they would develop insight. Now, they are consciously incompetent. They're lousing up their lives, they know why, but nothing has changed. And nothing has changed because they have not taken action. You cannot take Jane Fonda's home video, stick it into a VCR, lie in bed, watch it, and expect to get in shape. You need to do it. So as we go through these 10 tips, I am going to give you some very specific take actions. If you do the take actions, that becomes your way of developing and applying your emotional intelligence. Remember, I get nothing extra if you do the take actions, but you get a lot. So let's start to look at 10 ways of how we can leverage our innate emotional intelligence portfolio into some very concrete skills that will help impact our bottom line. And the first one is learn to listen to how you talk to yourself. Learn to listen to how you talk to yourself. Do you ever pay attention to how you talk to yourself? Do you ever listen to how people talk to themselves, especially when they were angry? I will always remember being back in Michigan. My nephew is now an attorney with the SEC. He's 33. So this was about 17 years ago. He's 16 years old. I'm in Michigan on business. We have time to play some tennis. He double faults on his very first serve. He throws his racket into the net, and he walks around saying, "I stink, I'm terrible." Now, true, my harassment helped, but nevertheless, his game just got worse. It's very important to learn to listen to how you talk to yourself, because your thoughts, to a great extent, dictate how you feel and how you manage your emotions. Think about, what was the first thing you said when you woke up in the morning? Did that put you in a good mood, or did it put you in a bad mood? Many of you saw the movie Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, where he plays a sports agent, and they keep flashing back on his mentor who says, "I love getting up in the morning." Now, how many of you said that today? Who has a better day when they wake up in the morning? The advisor who says, "Oh man, this is going to be a terrible day, market's going to go down, I'm going to lose some clients, I'll never get some new ones," or the person who wakes up in the morning and their first thinking process becomes, "I don't care how bad the market is today, I'm going to do great, I'm going to be successful." Now, even if they have the same results, who do you think has a better day? How do you talk to yourself? You know what your take action is? 5 minutes a day. Please don't say you don't have time. You can say it's not a priority, which I will accept, but don't say you don't have time. 5 minutes a day, preferably 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and at night. I want all of you to sit back in a chair and listen to how you talk to yourself for 5 minutes. You know what many of you are going to find? How you talk to yourself doesn't help. It makes the situation worse. Some of you are going to find that the first things you say in the morning are very negative thoughts. Some of you are going to find that every time you have to see a particular client, you are speaking negatively to yourself. Some of you are going to find every time you do a presentation, how you talk to yourself is basically undermining your confidence. Some of you are going to find every time you have to do a particular job task, you are speaking negatively to yourself. The idea is to increase your awareness to how you talk to yourself so you can start to use your thoughts to help you. And that means you can start to use the second principle here, which is use your thoughts as instructional self-statements. I'll say it again. Use your thoughts, you're talking to yourself anyway, as instructional self-statements. Let me give you the follow-up to my nephew. 6 weeks after that tennis incident, I'm back in Michigan. Now this time we go bowling. We're in the 7th frame. My nephew's up by 30 pins. And I'm thinking to myself, I got to get something to get back into this match. And then I got a hold of myself because I'm listening to myself. And I hear myself saying, Hank, what are you doing? Do you always have to compete with your nephew? Is that the type of relationship you want? Do you have to make everything a win-lose situation and be so competitive? And I will tell all of you that I felt very proud of myself that I inhibited such a juvenile, adolescent need, to have to win.